Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Who's that? Who sings that?
The Fugees. The fucking
Every time I
Fugees.
hear the name the Fugees, I think of Zach Galifianakis. The Fugees.
The Fugees. Yeah.
I don't even know what movie that's from, but just a memorable line.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's a more memorable line than it was a memorable movie, apparently. He's in a few of those. Like, you know, he's a funny fucking guy, but some of the movies that he was in weren't great.
Yeah, 100%. But you know what, though? I think his roles in those bad movies are still pretty good most of the time.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, he's a funny motherfucker.
And you think that Zach Galifianakis is the kind of guy that would work best in small doses. But there has been times, like in the campaign, as an example.
It's pretty fun. That might be the Fugees. So that might actually be.
Yeah. But he carried that movie. Not that Will Ferrell. Is that right? Yeah. Not that he wasn't great. He's always great.
He punched the shit out of that baby.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, he sure did. The best part of that was when he was a politician running for office and leaving that dirty voicemail on the wrong answering machine.
That I feel like that character was very obviously supposed to be like kind of a George W. Bush inspired Rick Perry kind of guy.
Now, do you say that like because when Will Ferrell did the George Bush impression, it's kind of a similar fake voice.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah. Is that why, or is it?
I mean, yeah, they sound alike, but also you can tell that Will Ferrell doesn't have a whole lot of respect for Republicans. I don't know if you remember that George W. Bush, like one-man show that he did.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it was funny. I thought it was funny, but he obviously thinks George Bush is a fucking moron.
I wish that comedians would make fun of politicians apolitically.
Yeah.
You know, it can easily be done. You can make all the same jokes. Just don't make it obvious that you take the other side.
Yeah.
You know, just be an equal opportunity comedian and just make fun of shit that, you know, isn't political. Be apolitical.
Political comedy is the worst.
The worst.
Excuse me. Yeah, political comedy. I mean, it's not always bad, but like 99% of it is probably bad. I can't think of good political comedy off the top of my head.
Like George Carlin comes to mind. But even that, like, you know,
he's wrong about a lot. You know, I mean, he's right about his things too, but he's for a guy who gets, you know, he's got like the cred of being somebody who was like aware of what's going on. I listen to Carlin now and I'm like, man, this dude he like trusts them way, you know, he acts like he doesn't, but he trusts politicians and the system way more than I do personally.
Yeah. I think I told you this story on the podcast, or I may have brought this up before, but I went to a couple of concerts in the past, and I love seeing live music, especially when I was younger and I was staying up later. You know, nowadays it's fucking difficult. But yeah, like sometimes I'd go see a band and they would say some shit during the songs, before the songs, in between them. And sometimes it's just like you get to know the band in an interesting way. And that's what makes live shows partly what makes them so unique and interesting. Other times they say some political shit that just disenfranchises half of the people there, you know?
Oh, I don't think it disenfranchises half of the people there.
Well, disenfranchised me.
Yeah, well, I think you were a minority.
I think most people don't shut up and sing, clown.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I think when I was younger, I didn't care about politics as much anyways, but I was better at just like not really, much like George Carlin, I like trusted things way more back then. So I was like, yeah, man, probably, you know. But you know, there were some bands that were definitely going to be good for it. Bands that we like Rise Against, they were definitely going to say something political.
And I think they might have been one of them.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
Last band I saw that made like an overtly political statement it's actually been a while. There's a guy, Irish fella named Glenn Hansard, who is incredible. He's a great musician. But he was talking about, as he said it, Greta Thunberg.
Oh
I thought that
God,
was interesting. Thunberg.
Thunberg. I assume he was
Very.
speaking in support of her.
Yeah. He was like, she's a genius. She's gonna, be the president of the world. That sort of thing.
Yep.
Then he shut the fuck up. Oh, actually, someone in the crowd was like, "Boo!" And he like was kind of condescending to them, but not that bad. It could have been worse. The whole situation could have been worse.
Yeah, I feel like that Greta Thunberg. What's her name?
Thunberg. That's how I would pronounce it as an American.
I feel like that whole situation is symbolic or emblematic of it's just part of what's eating away at this society, that we would raise up a child,
an autistic,
throw in a hissy fit, and make it out like a political, like a valid political expression. A girl who's too young. I mean, she's probably speaking from fear, and maybe less indoctrination than fear. At that age, people tell you the world's going to end unless people stop sinning in this way, stop acting in this way, and it's all black and white when you're a kid. And it's hard for me to blame a kid for thinking, in black and white, but people who are mature adults
who taught her, who like led her. I mean, how much do you know about her and where she came from and stuff like that? Yeah. So
zero.
Her parents are like pretty big political activist type people. So it's not like she like hit the books and was, learning about climate change. I'm sure she, there's a lot of information out there that will just confirm any bias that you have. So
yes, indeed.
But yeah, I don't think she came to those ideas organically.
Yeah,
just put it that way.
So she was indoctrinated just because it was around her growing up,
like us all,
and her role models were doing that. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you have like nuanced thinkers, adults, people like you and I, that raise her up.
You think I'm a nuanced thinker?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I think that you're wrong about that. But yeah, we
put her
on a pedestal.
Yeah, absolutely, and made a big fuss about it, and like talked about, maybe not talked about, but it was implicit that her youth, she was like wise beyond her years. Her youth was
part of it is that she's European.
Up. Part of it's that
Americans hear that this. She's European, even though she's a teenager, she's got to be wise beyond her year, because Americans are fucking gay and retarded like that. They like love European people.
I do love European people.
I don't. I'm like, this is an established thing on the podcast. I'm like pretty anti-European. I like Europe. I want to go visit Europe, but I don't really care about a lot of the European people who have like that negative stereotype of America. It's like, you guys are fucking retarded. As if we came over there and we examined your culture, there aren't a bunch of fucking fat loser idiots. Like I know there's Eurotrash.
Yeah.
I really hate that, man. It really gets under my skin. This like anti-American, Americans are stupid.
Yeah.
Fucking hate it.
The generalizations about America from people who aren't from America are really laughable, because this is a big place, man.
Yeah.
America's a big place.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a lot of their countries by 70 times.
States. A lot of like smaller states are, well, not smaller, but mid-sized. Ohio, I'm sure, is bigger than a lot of European countries.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you simplify what it must be like to be an American in this giant geographic space with all different socioeconomic
people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. From all different cultural backgrounds, a melting pot, by the way.
Yeah,
one of the most interesting places you could possibly imagine if you wrote it up, in fiction. But we're all fat and lazy. I don't know if they think we're lazy because we actually work longer hours and are, we have much less vacation time than they do. Stupid. Yeah.
Uncultured.
Stupid, fat, uncultured. Yeah.
Like ketchup a lot. Which, I mean, they're not wrong. They get like spotty things right. And there are probably some people who fit their stereotype exactly, but there's a lot of people here. And for you to act like everyone in America is retarded, it just really rubs me the wrong way. So I am anti-European. Yeah, that's like a stance that I take.
Yeah.
A firm one too.
So I don't know enough about European culture to do this kind of a breakdown.
They're all gay.
But I can do it with America to some degree. I can say that A perfectly realistic stereotype of an American could easily be a New York stereotype, and there are like lots of ones that might come to mind, but one of them might be the Wall Street, super rich,
Yeah,
you know,
Leonardo DiCaprio from the Wolf.
you might have, but and he's like grandized and all but that's a perfectly reasonable, normal American stereotype, but that's not the redneck
Yeah,
stereotype that we're talking about.
yeah, that's true.
And then there's that old money East Coast, aristocratic type person, and then there's the Appalachian American, and then there's the, Pacific Northwest.
Whole bunch.
What about the Native American people here?
Well,
What about those people?
They live on the reservations,
On the res, they're on the res.
On the res, is that what they say?
That's weird, man. I've been living in these United States for my entire life. You know how many Native American people I've ever met?
I would guess less than 5.
Very few. The only I ever met that I would say like personally interacted with somebody as a stranger in public was in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I bumped into
Sitting Bull.
They were I can't remember what
that
tribe.
Was probably an actor.
No, they were from New York. They were here gambling just like we were.
Of course they were.
They weren't from there. They were from New York. And I'm just trying to remember what tribe they said they were from. Oh, for some reason, I want to say Seneca, but it's probably wrong. In any case, it was very interesting meeting those people because I never met a Native American person before, and I realized that they're just like us.
Were they wearing like unfinished leather?
No.
Moccasins?
No. Listen, if they were, I don't know how to say this. This is going to be. There's no way not to make this racist.
Nice. Let's go.
If they were white people, so. See, like, right, that's how I'm starting. Like, how do you even go on from this point? If they were white people, and I looked at the way they were dressed and the way that they interacted with each other and with us, I would say that they are like rednecks.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if hillbilly is right or redneck is right.
I'm like really surprised that you are like feeling this sensitive about saying that you think like. I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem anything offensive about saying they look like rednecks.
I guess what I'm saying is
it because of the red?
I can't. No. I can't generalize about Native American people because I only ever met 2. So I'm trying to put them in a category that I'm familiar with. But when I say redneck or hillbilly, they're white people we're talking about. So how do I communicate to you what the impression I got of their socioeconomic position or their personality or attitudes? Political preferences, like how do I communicate that to you when I'm trying to generalize from a group I don't have any, I have a data set of 2. It's difficult. So I say, okay, let's just look at how, various types of white people, we could describe various types of white people by their, I don't know if that's culture or stereotype or whatever we want to call it. They would fit neatly into that
redneck,
into that mold, if that makes sense.
Like, were they wearing like work boots?
Yeah, it's like they were just like
Carhartt pants,
like lower middle class people. Maybe I would have to say maybe lower middle class people, and they were dressed like me, like we were.
Well, you're not a redneck.
No, they were a little bit. It's been many years, and I'm trying to get too specific here, but
see what I was almost for some reason expecting you to say that I'm just gonna be insensitive here, that they were dressed like black people. They had like a more urban feel. I don't know why.
No. To me, it was like, listen, see, like I'm afraid. I want to say like trailer park people, like stereotypical trailer park people. But if I say that, is that like I don't know.
I'm sure there are a bunch of nice people who live in trailer parks.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a very particular type of trailer park people. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about.
You're talking about white trash. Yeah,
I guess I am. So they had that. They would have fit that mold pretty neatly. Yeah. I would say, and it surprised me. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. See, that like doesn't really surprise me at all. Knowing the little, I mean, I don't really know any Indians in real life either, so everything that I know is hearsay. But I mean, I trust the people that I've heard things from, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, I think that they have a lot of similar kind of problems to white people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I guess that's what it boils down to. They were probably lower on the income spectrum people, and I guess that's what I was picking up on.
I would. I mean, again, a bunch of nice people who live in trailers, I'm sure, and these people could have been, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do live in a trailer on a reservation. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they. I don't even know if they live in a reservation, but
yeah, they did.
oh, they did.
Yeah, and they were like the stories they were telling me.
Oh, you actually like talked to them.
Like yeah, we were sitting in a bar together having a chat.
You spoke the language?
No, yeah, he spoke English just fine.
And,
no, man, it was like trailer park stories, dude. It was trailer park stories. They were telling me like
math,
like brutal fights and jealousy, family issues, and like just
like fucking each other's girls.
Yeah, like reality TV level drama.
Jerry Springer shit.
And I just didn't expect it, man. I guess I wanted a different experience from
wanted the unfinished leather and the tales of chasing the buffalo.
So I went to Cherokee, North Carolina one time.
Cherokee?
Yeah, the Cherokee.
No, were these Indians Cherokee?
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you couldn't think of what tribe.
This is a different story. So I went to Cherokee, North Carolina, specifically to go to a reservation because I wanted to see what.
When did you do that?
That was the first time I got married when I was on my first honeymoon. So yeah, we went to Tennessee, and then one day we drove from where we were staying to Cherokee, North Carolina, and I went to this reservation. But here's the thing: it wasn't a reservation. I mean, it was on the reservation, like the property that belonged to the native tribe, but it was this tourist thing. So we go into it, and it's like they were doing the dances, like the tribal dance, as a spectacle for the people sitting around in for Whitey, yeah. And it was cool. I mean, I guess it's kind of sad in some ways. And I tried to talk
to why is that sad?
Just like the I guess the word spectacle that I used, performance, making it.
Okay, I guess I could see that. Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine if some people paid money to watch people in church sing hymns and take communion?
Yeah,
it's like that's what I was doing. I paid money to sit there and watch these people do their ritual, their holy dance, and it's worse than that because they're doing it no longer for spiritual reasons. They're doing it to make money from us, and that's even worse. It's like you've soiled this. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
In retrospect, but I tried to talk to some of the people afterwards, and I just wanted to ask them about their religion because that's the kind of shit that I'm interested in. So I just wanted to ask them. They don't fucking know. Those people they don't practice that religion anymore, and they haven't. They barely know, Yeah. It was weird. It was a weird experience.
That's the like native Germanic and Scandinavian people, they have more, I think more than the Indians do, the Native Americans. But I don't even know about that. Maybe that's not true, but they don't really have any kind of traditions or anything either. If you ask a person from Scandinavia, what did they think? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, they're just Christians, and then most of them aren't religious in anyway, so they just barely have a Christian tradition.
I wonder if that's true with Native Americans. I wonder if they are more Christian.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. That's the impression that I have.
Yeah, that was the impression I got from
all of the
just
Indians that I know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, I only ever met the two, and then the ones that I saw in that weird setting in North Carolina that was just not. It was not authentic. I knew I wasn't getting anything authentic there. I've
met some Mexicans, and that's like same thing, like kind of the same thing, depending on the type of Mexican,
Yeah, I know that the Maya, for instance, had settlements as far into North America as Florida. So you have places like Miami where the word comes from the word Maya that they use for their like their people.
Yeah.
So that you had, up into the American Southwest, you had influence from the Aztecs and stuff like that. But there seems to me to be a pretty big difference between the morphological type when you have like a South American or a Central American, Native American person, even when they're mixed with the Spanish, like we see in Mexico and lots of other places, or the Portuguese in Brazil. You can tell when you get a real high percentage of the native DNA, the people are very small. Like a lot of them, they're very small people. But that's not the case. It at least doesn't seem to be the case with the Cherokee or the natives that would have been living here.
I think they were still smaller.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think the impression that you have comes from like movies and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one, I can't remember the name of the tribe, but they were like badasses.
Yeah, Apache.
Maybe, I don't know.
Mohawk.
Man. They all seem kind of badass. No, but it's the one that Joe Rogan is like obsessed with.
Oh, probably the
Comanche, maybe.
Yeah, the Comanche, probably.
And they were little tiny fellers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like short, stocky.
Yeah.
Violent. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
either.
Like, I'm trying to think of like the Inuit and the Eskimo up in the Arctic. Are they small?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I definitely never met one of them.
I don't think that they're like particularly tall. I feel like I would know that. I feel like that would stick out,
If Eskimos were notoriously tall, there'd be more in the NBA probably.
True, yeah.
I've never seen one in the NBA.
I've never seen it. I don't know. I'll have to look it up later. I mean, you get a lot of Eastern Europeans in the NBA.
True.
Get some Israelis every now and then.
Yeah.
But
I was just telling this story earlier while we're talking about different I don't like using the word races, man, but like different ethnic groups and what their like morphological like stereotypes are. And when I was like in middle school, he's not really a friend, but like an acquaintance in school, he went to Germany with his dad or something. And then he came back and he was talking about what it was like in Germany, because I was very interested to know.
Yeah.
I had never been out of the United States. At that time, probably hadn't been very far at all. And I was like, what was it like there? And he was like, you know what stuck out to me? I was like, what? He was like, I was the tallest person in the whole country. I didn't see anybody, anywhere close to as tall. And he was like, this would have been like maybe a 12 or 13-year-old kid. He said he was the tallest guy.
Was he particularly tall?
Like an average size dude.
Yeah, that's not a stereotype that I have heard from Germany, so that's weird.
Yeah, well,
like Japan. Yeah,
yeah. Wherever he went, that's what he said. He said he was the tallest guy that he met while he was there, and every woman he saw was the most beautiful woman he ever saw. That's what he said.
Yeah,
yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of Scandinavian people. I know they're notoriously tall.
It's funny. Yeah, I mean that's definitely like the Viking stereotype tends to be like a big lumbering, beautiful, muscular, crazy man.
Yeah.
But I have a suspicion that, and maybe this wasn't true like in the Viking age, but like when nutrition in Europe was a problem, that like the genes were there for people to have a large stature, but most people just didn't develop well. And when people migrated to the United States, a lot of people, like if you look at my wife's dad and grandpa, they were short, relatively short fellas, and my wife is tall, relatively tall. I think like once you get to a place where the nutrition is good and you're getting vitamin D from the sun and you're healthy, those genes kick on, and within a couple generations, those people blossom. Yeah. They get big.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that current like Swedish people, they're like the tallest white people, But yeah, I could see maybe back in the day.
Are the Dutch too, or is that right?
I think that whole area.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of kickboxers from there.
The Denmark.
Maybe.
I mean,
where's Whitney's family from? Because she's
Holland.
Holland,
the Netherlands.
She's a tall lady.
Yeah, not like super tall, but like definitely tall.
Yeah,
she's not like weirdly tall.
Yeah. They're tall there, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. Africa is so diverse when it comes to that because you have some of like the tallest people ever that come from Africa. Then you have like the sand bushmen in the south. They're like they call them pygmies. They're like tiny people, and they're all that's normal for them. They're just small people.
It's weird.
It's crazy.
Africa's a big place.
Big place, an
old
place.
Variation. You say old place?
An old place, yeah.
Is it old?
Have like else on Earth, they're like compact into that place, which leads me to believe that human beings were there with language evolving for longer than anywhere else on Earth. I think in Australia it's pretty close to that. There's like tons of different languages, and they're like very different from each other.
The Aboriginals.
Yeah, that's another fascinating topic. I don't know anything about the Aboriginal people. Their tribes, the differences, the history, the religion. I don't know shit about it.
I've heard some stuff, but not very much. You know.
Yeah, I know about boomerangs and
like walkabouts.
What are those things called? They blow into
didgeridoos.
Didgeridoos. Yeah, I know about kangaroos and shit. I know about that.
I don't think kangaroos are really a part of it, but
oh, they're in the mix.
Yeah.
I know about that. There's a rock shelter there. It's like like a super ancient place where human habitation has been, and they have record of it going back 50,000 years or whatever. And they're just covered in paintings and carvings into the rock. And it's this crazy, weird rock shelter. And I didn't learn about it until like they featured it on Ancient Aliens or on some kind of documentary that I saw. And it's like basically like a giant flat piece of stone. You're foaming up over there. And it's being held up by smaller stones. So it's almost like a rooftop and walls, but it's somehow naturally formed that way, the way the rock, deteriorated or whatever the word is, you know what I'm getting at. And eroded. And there's all kinds of crazy ancient carvings in there. Old fucking carvings. Yeah. And that shit's so fascinating to me.
You should get in there and steal one for this wall over here.
Hell yeah. No, I'm not doing that. Someone texting you there, bud?
Probably. I don't know.
Sound like a buzz. Yeah. Speaking of buzz, cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Two tongues in the house.
Two tongues. Second episode with me back.
Hell yeah, man.
2 weeks. I feel like it's, it's a good amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you still pumping out the solos, huh?
I didn't this week. I'm trying. I've been working on reading back through Paralandra, and it's interesting, but I have to get enough. I have to read enough to get a whole episode's worth, and I'm not there yet, so I have to keep reading. It's going to be hopefully this week I'll have one out, but yeah, the plan is I'll still do at least the one solo episode every week. I've been trying. It's not been as easy to do, but I'm trying.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of interesting symbolism in Paralandra right now about the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve, like the whole opening bit where, for those of you who are listening and don't have any fucking idea what I'm talking about, Kyle and I were reading these books, C.S. Lewis books called the Space Trilogy, and it's 3 books, Out of the Silent Planet, Paralandra, and That Hideous Strength. I did a solo episode on the first one, Out of the Silent Planet, and I'm working on the Paralandra episode, so that's getting you up to speed. And it's a sci-fi series about this main character, Ransom, who finds himself able to go to different planets in outer space and have adventures. It's a sci-fi book.
Yes, it is.
But when he gets to Paralandra in the beginning, first of all, he's naked when he arrives. And if you remember how that opens up, the sort of angel, the Oyarsa of Mars, who's like, because first he goes to Mars, now in the second book he goes to Venus, that's Paralandra, and the angel of Mars is still helping him out. I call angel, I don't know whether you would agree with that characterization of the Oyarsa as like an angelic figure.
Yeah.
So the angel's helping him, and somehow he sends him this casket, right? This sort of a casket.
Space casket.
He's going to lock himself into, and then the angel's going to transport him magically in the casket to Venus. And he tells him before he gets into the casket to take off all of his clothes. He's going naked. And so when he arrives on this new planet, he's naked. Like when you were born, you were naked in your birthday suit. Like when God created Adam, he didn't yet have clothes. He was naked. That's how Ransom arrives on this planet, like Adam.
Reborn.
And there's just so many little things about like the fruit that he encounters. Like, you can tell like there's references there to the forbidden trees in the garden. And he talks about having this weird sensation of not feeling any guilt. He just describes having being on this planet, feeling strangely. Everything is strange. Everything looks strange. And what occurs to him is that he doesn't have this anxiety or this overarching feeling of guilt like he was accustomed to. He had normalized it. He didn't notice it till it was gone. So here he's this naked man. He's the only man on this planet so far, and he has no guilt, no shame, and so he hasn't yet eaten the fruit that Adam and Eve eat, right? So the whole thing is just really interesting, and the way that they model this whole opening of the story on the Garden of Eden story is just really cool, man. I'm eating it up. He wakes up. Sorry, man. He wakes up on his first night, from his first night asleep on the planet, and the first thing he sees is a dragon curled around this tree, heavy with fruit. And that's the first thing he sees is a serpent wrapped around the tree. It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, the imagery is there, but the story, like that serpent wrapped around the tree is not the devil or anything, It's like he doesn't make it like directly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty direct, but and like there's no command not to eat the fruit. He's allowed to eat this fruit,
yeah.
But there's that comparison is definitely there.
Yeah.
And he does say when he eats it that he eats it and he's like satisfied and he like thinks maybe I would eat another one, but he's like, no, it wouldn't be right to eat another one.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
It is interesting.
Something weird about that.
Yeah. What do you think that means? Do you remember how he described it?
Not really.
He said like the feeling he got when he ate this fruit, this crazy alien fruit, and it was the most delicious thing he ever tasted because it didn't taste like anything he ever expected to taste. It was brand new and fascinating. Like the first time you have sex, he's like an amazing experience. That's what he was making love to this fruit. And he said, it was so good. His instinct was to grab another one. And then he had this overwhelming feeling that it would be wrong to do so. And the way he described it was, it would be like wanting to listen to a symphony that you just listened to, like wanting to just start it over again immediately after you just went through that whole epic experience. And if you do a symphony right, it takes you on this emotional roller coaster. It takes you through this story, and it's a long, drawn out experience. And when you're done, it has the climax, it has the crescendo. It's, and then you want to start that trip immediately over again. It's like, first of all, you don't. And even if you did, it wouldn't be as good because you just listened to the damn thing. You just went on that experience. So that's how he explains it. It's like, it wouldn't be right. It felt like a sin for him to do it, but that's why, because it was like tarnishing the memory, the experience he just had by unnecessarily duplicating it and weakening it. And what word am I looking for?
I don't know, but it's almost like you're taking it for granted,
It's something like that is what I mean. Yeah.
I have definitely listened to like particularly Beethoven's Fifth back to back, like listen to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I just love that.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I listened
to
anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Beethoven. The Fifth it's so good, man. I like a lot of classical music. But the Fifth really gets me. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's so fucking intense.
I can't remember if it's Beethoven or not, but there's a classical composer. Maybe it's Mozart. I don't know. There's a classical composer and Goethe. Both of them are from the same part of Germany. I found out that my mom's family comes from.
Okay.
And I found out there's a tribe, a Germanic tribe that gives their name to the place that she's from. So I don't know whether that means my mom's family would have come from that tribe, but there's a possibility, and that's pretty cool, man. That's like, cool. It's like a connection that goes back to like 500 AD with this tribe called the Thuringi or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool.
Deep history.
Yeah, man, that's a long ass time ago. I was gonna say something and I lost it.
I said deep history, and I thought
it was before that.
Oh,
I don't know what's going, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought of deep heaven. Or deep, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Deep space. They call it deep heaven in the books.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's at the end of Out of the Silent Planet, they have that. It's like a letter from Ransom, or I can't remember if it's from Ransom to, the fake C.S. Lewis in the story, or if it's from the professor who was supposed to be a C.S. Lewis to Ransom, who was supposed to be Tolkien.
That's right. Yeah.
But they say that, like, if we can get people to stop thinking of it as space and to start thinking of it as deep heaven, it would have been worth all, whatever we go through.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Deep heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Good little book.
It is a good book. I highly recommend all three of them. Dude, I've been not really able to listen to anything because I've been training. I have an apprentice.
Yep.
I'm training to take my position, and I just don't really have the time to listen to stuff. It fucking sucks, man. This is why I pour it into a glass like I do.
Oh shit! I could have got
no.
I did. I'm sorry.
No, it's no big deal. What was I saying?
What were you saying, man? I was getting ready to tee up a story about that YouTube channel you and I were watching yesterday.
Yeah. Go ahead.
After you left last night, I watched the episode. This is a guy who has a channel where he talks a lot about early 2000s.
His name is Finn McKenty, and the channel is called the Punk Rock MBA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And all that. Yes, thank you. So I watched the Ronnie Radke episode after you left, and then Jessica, like my wife likes Radke maybe more than I do, especially like his new stuff. For me, whatever. Yeah. I won't get into it, but I learned a bunch of interesting stuff about him, and I was like, yeah, she would love this, but she was kind of like mad at me, so she like wouldn't even let herself. She would, if she would have just took my recommendation and sat down and watched it, she would have loved it. Yeah. But she couldn't because she was mad at me.
Did she not watch it?
No.
Okay. I thought she like watched it and like forced herself to not like it, but
no.
I'll just put it on again next time you just throw something on there.
So if you get a text from me in the near future, it's gonna, hey, what's that YouTube channel called again?
Punk Rock MBA. What does MBA stand for? I know it.
Masters of Business Administration.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's just like slipping the old mind.
Yeah, that
channel's good though, man.
Yeah, there's more on there I want to watch. For sure.
For anybody who's curious, he talks about music. He talks about like mainly like early 2000s music, pop punk, emo, new metal. He talks about he did a great video on Korn. That guy makes a lot of really good videos.
Yeah,
interesting. Just like a snapshot of time,
the weird thing for me is when we were growing up and that music was becoming popular, it was like scene music. That was our scene. It wasn't taken seriously because it was new. It did eventually because it kind of had its moment. Mm-hmm. But before that and after that, it's still pop punk and power pop and emo and the screamo and stuff is not in the mainstream really. Where was I going with this? Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know where you were going, but it definitely is not. It's still around. Go ahead.
But it's just that once you introduce a new genre of music like that, where you make some change and the new generation comes up and has their production, then those kids become adults get to the point where we are, where we're, many decades distant from when that shit was brand new, but now we're in charge to a certain extent. We're the adults now, and so we have money, right? Money to go see the reunion tours, money to buy MXPX's last two self-produced records, and so that's a good example. MXPX is making records now. They probably couldn't do it profitably anymore because they don't have the audience anymore, but he's doing it out of his garage.
Yeah.
And there's enough people like us that are still like, shit, MXPX has got a new album.
Don't let me into that group. But yeah, I mean, there's an internet, what you're talking, hate it.
Let's hear it.
People like, I've seen people, it was like kind of a meme for a while, but now people like actually call themselves this, and it drives me fucking nuts. Elder emo.
Oh God.
Yeah. People like really like claim that.
Well, it's because now we're old enough to have children. We're elder emo.
Elder emos.
What are there younger emos? Is there a new generation of emo?
There's like still an emo music scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say just a second ago when I was like talking, because you couldn't think of what you were saying, was, see, I'm going to lose it. Oh, that, music, things pop into the mainstream of music, and some of it like stays and like kind of leaves its mark on the mainstream.
Yeah.
And some of it comes into the mainstream and then just goes away, and it doesn't really change anything. I wouldn't say that like pop punk scene music didn't change it at all. I do think it changed it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It did.
Not as much as like some other things.
See, I didn't appreciate that as much until yesterday when I watched the episode, whatever the episode was we watched, where he talked about all these
Newfound Glory is what we watched.
Newfound Glory, that's right. Yeah. He was talking about all these new artists
that were influenced by them.
But I don't know the new artists, so I didn't realize that there was a continuum that stretched into the present new music that owes a debt to Newfound Glory. No, it's just interesting to hear because
a day to remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know 4 Years Strong?
Yeah, of course.
What about? Well, two of the bands that he named are named after their lyrics. I know you know All Time Low.
Yep, sure. The Story So Far.
The Story So Far. Yeah. That was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like either of those bands.
Yeah.
I like A Day to Remember and 4 Years Strong. They're decent enough, but I don't really ever listen to them anymore.
Well, he actually referenced a song that I checked out, and it was fucking good, dude. I'll tell you. Hold on a second. Tell me if you know it. I sent it to my wife. It is, survey says, Sueco, Sueco is the name of the band, and the song is called "Loser."
Never heard of it.
Oh man, I might have to boot it up for a second here. Let me see if I can.
It might get us pulled off YouTube.
Even if we just play a second of it,
maybe, yeah, potentially, because they have like an algorithm thing that just like checks everything that gets uploaded. And
damn. But it's like kind of like Jesus. You know how like hip hop is so mainstream now? To me, it's like.
Well, you know what? They do reaction videos. Like people upload reaction videos and they don't get pulled down. Sometimes they do though. That's the thing. Like people upload like Led Zeppelin reaction videos, and Zeppelin is notorious for getting people taken down.
Well, what do you think?
Dude, you use the internet so weird.
What do you mean?
You just like like when I want to look something up, I go to YouTube and and you just like typed it into Google and are going to take a link to YouTube. I don't know why. It just like strikes me as strange.
But you would just go to YouTube immediately and then you would search it there. But I just know that it's going to be the first result. So,
I get it. It's just funny to me.
All right. So if I boot this up.
So you're going to have to go back to the Melon screen.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to pause this to make sure it doesn't play. All right, go back to Melon. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have to go to share.
Yep.
Right there.
I'm sure. You just want to do the audio?
It's up to you, man. Just share the screen. We'll throw it up here.
All right. I do have to share background audio though. Oh no, that's not what I want to do.
We're working out the kinks, people.
You fucks. All right, here we go. Screen.
I think. Yeah.
Oh,
I think you're good. Yeah. No, don't share the entire screen.
I think this is it. Yeah, right.
You don't want to show people the T-girl site that you're on right now.
Actually, this isn't working. Fuck it. Fuck it.
No,
Also,
dude,
share tab audio.
Click on that. Right. What the? Yeah,
there it is. Also audio. All right, let's see if it works.
I think you. Show on stream.
Talking shit over my headphones. Every single word that they say. Even if I could, I wouldn't let go.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's not coming through the headphones. So.
Yeah, it's probably. Well, I had to share the background audio. This is a terrible failure. So we're just going to
figure out how to do this better, man. Because I would like to do that kind of stuff.
It would be fun. So I don't know if you guys picked up on any of that from what was coming out of the speakers, but it's one of those like, who would you compare it to? Do you remember who's the dude that did that pop punk album that he was dating Megan Fox? What's his name?
Shia LaBeouf.
No.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes. That sound to me, it's in the vein of a Machine Gun Kelly, of the white hip hop artists that didn't exist in our generation, with the exception of Eminem, and that's a different kind of music altogether. It's that type of a genre of music that I consider beyond me. Like, I didn't follow it, and I never didn't like it really at all, and so it's kind of like, for me, it's the young people music. That's how old I am. I just let you can have it. I don't want it. It's fine. That guy seems like that, and I would immediately want to kind of dismiss it. But because of that dude on the podcast,
you're like, I'm going to give it a chance.
I was like, let me listen to it. And shit, man, after like 20 seconds of it, I was like, I guess I'm downloaded the album, you know?
Interesting.
You should ask your little brother and see if he knows that band.
Swaco?
Yeah.
All right. He probably does.
Probably.
You know,
it's probably like, I've been known that.
Bands. Yeah, he's probably seen them like 4 times.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he goes to a lot of fucking concerts, man. It's crazy. But I'm not trying to go to that many concerts anymore. Fuck that.
No, there's been 2 concerts I bought tickets to, and out of like the last 5 where I just didn't go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was supposed to go see not Suicidal Tendencies. It was like an older punk band. It was like or was it Streetlight Manifesto?
I remember you were going to see them and didn't go. So
yeah, that was one of them. That was one of them. But there was another one too.
Streetlight Manifesto. They got like 2 good songs, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I think personally, you probably liked them a little more.
You know what? I'm going to admit to something right now. When it comes to bands like Streetlight Manifesto, there are some songs and some bands like that I think I like more because I want to than because I do. And I know what the source of it is psychologically. It goes back to when I first started listening to punk rock, and I felt like I was like I didn't belong. I felt like I was trying to make it my music. It wasn't yet my music. You know what I mean? Something like that. I felt like a bit of an imposter trying to be a punk, and I wasn't yet one. You know, when I first started listening to it,
at the height of your punkness, you weren't really a punk. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but you were a pop punk guy. You know?
Of course. But I felt like I was an imposter even there.
That's like really, you're like the imposter of the imposter. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really feel that way. I think it's just a trend effect. You know,
when I
punk was too. I mean,
when I was that age, I was trying to, become my own man, and I wanted to pick my own destiny, and that was a choice I made.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's just how I felt, honestly. And so there's some bands like when I first started listening to punk rock and AFI, before AFI had a decent album or two, because as far as I'm concerned, that's all they ever had was a couple of decent albums. I was listening to the old stuff because I thought there was some credibility involved. Like if I liked that, and if I liked Rancid, then I was a real punk rocker. And I fucking hate, even to this day, there's very little Rancid I can stand.
Yeah, Rancid sucks.
Very little.
I don't like Rancid at all. I don't really like punk music, to be honest with you. I mean, here and there. I liked pop punk way more than I liked actual punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always been more of a metal guy, you know.
But there's some like what I'm going to call quote unquote actual punk that I like. I don't like it as much as pop punk,
Yeah.
but there's some that I like, and I still kind of like that I like them. I like that I have that. If I ever
You feel legit.
yeah, it's still a weird hangover from being a teenager that I haven't entirely shaken off. It's fucking weird, but at least I can admit it, and that's what I'm doing right now publicly.
Yeah. I'm sure I have. I know that I have like some level of music snobbery. I know that I do, but I also like think that I have like less than a lot of people too, because I like pop music. I
Yeah.
think that pop music is good, and it's like intentionally good. You know, like
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I John Mayer's fucking good. Dude.
Fucking love John Mayer.
John Mayer's sweet. I especially love John Mayer's like I mean, again, I do like his pop music, but I think that his like blues music is really good. I just think he's a really talented fucking guy.
Well, you know, I wouldn't listen to pop music if it was left up to me, but my wife and girls listen to it, and there's shit that I like that comes on that I like. There's there's even shit that's grown on me that I didn't like immediately that I'm starting to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what kind of music you're talking about, but I have a feeling if your wife and daughter are listening to it, that I'm probably like anti that shit. I mean, I'm
It's
assuming
like-
you're talking about like female pop stars and things like that.
like a lot of Taylor Swift and Lizzo and
Yeah, no, fuck that.
yeah.
I'm not listening to any of that.
Dude, I think Taylor Swift is a talented girl, man. I think
Yeah,
she's a talented girl.
I don't disagree. You know, but I don't really like it. It's not really for me.
Not only do I like some of it, but I like some of her earlier stuff. Like when I probably should have been embarrassed to like it.
Drops on my guitar type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when John Mayer, like Your Body's a Wonderland time, it was not cool at all to like John Mayer if you were a boy. But I fucking liked John Mayer back then.
Yeah, John Mayer's good. I fuck with John Mayer.
I fuck with John Mayer. So does Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, he
so
gets
does
around, man.
There's others. There's other celebrity women.
I'm sure there are.
I can't think of them.
Yeah, man. I like talking about music. I like that guy Finn McKenty's channel. I would like to do something like that.
You should, man.
I don't know what though, you know?
Yeah. It just takes time. You just have to, first of all, you have to find something that you care enough to spend the time on, like an idea, a concept, and then
I'd
you
like to know how much time he puts into those videos, you know?
Good question.
I mean, he has like better editing and shit than we would.
Yeah.
But just like the research part of it, I wonder how long he's putting into that.
Well, like that's a good question. Like I put in for my solo episodes, I put in probably maybe like 5 hours or so. Well, sometimes more. It just depends on how difficult the reading is. But yeah, maybe 5 or 6 hours it takes me to do an episode. And I'm not doing any video editing. That dude I told you, Let's Talk Religion channel, that Swedish fellow that I really like his stuff. He does it the way if I had the time or the resources or the inclination that I would do, especially for the YouTube piece, where, you know, he'll be talking just like I am into the camera. And then he'll show the images that are associated with what he's talking about. And he'll go back to himself. And
you could do that easy.
It's so easy. Yeah, I know, but it's just another thing to do. I'd have to.
I'm telling. Well, we're gonna figure it out when I know how to do it. I mean, your computer is like weird for some reason. It seems like it makes things more complicated.
Damn.
But I'm sure that it's just something pretty easy that. Like, I don't understand why the audio is playing out of the computer and not through the headphones.
Yeah,
because
some settings that need to be messed with, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could easily do that, man.
Like even if I was going to do that for one of my normal episodes, I would have to go in and find all the images that I want to show. And then if I was using this, I would have to screen share through and click through the images as I went along, which is fine. But the time it takes me to find all the images and to have them available to me in a slideshow, it's like it's probably not that bad, but it's just something it's something extra that I would have to do. And it's a good idea, but it's just right now, man, it's hard enough doing what I'm doing and juggling it all. So It is what it is.
Yeah, when you get up to like that guy Finn McKenty's level, I'm sure he has people editing his videos. He's probably not doing that himself anymore.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I know that some people like to continue doing that stuff, but
I'm sure there's some super cost-effective ways of outsourcing that shit.
oh yeah,
It's just a matter of figuring it out.
yeah. I know a lot of people end up just like hiring somebody, not even really outsourcing it. I mean, I guess that's still kind of outsourcing it, but you know, like Rogan has Jamie, things like that.
Yep. My brother would love to be Jamie, our Jamie.
You gotta get it.
He would love to be.
He's just, I mean, he doesn't even have to be here. We could give him like this thing. It says here, it says add guest, and here it says team. He could be the team.
He could be on the team.
And he, like, anything we talk about, he could be like, I mean, there's a chat here. He could like, hey, I put that for you in the thing.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we gotta train him up.
He's got to be available when we're doing it, though. You know,
That's true. Yeah. He's not in terms of ability.
All that.
Oh, I was. another podcast related news. Shout out to Ross. We've got a
Ross the boss.
We have a get together scheduled next week with a listener of the show, which is cool, man.
That's cool.
Somebody's traveling from another country and he's gonna
Drop in on us.
Have dinner with us and stuff. That's cool, man.
Cool.
He's gonna listen to this episode at some point and he's gonna be like, "Eh."
Hey.
If I could do a Scottish accent right now, I'd try to pretend to be him, but secretly I don't know how thick his accent is. I wonder if it's gonna be problematic.
Yeah.
Some Scottish people have thick ass accents.
It's one of the only European people that I make an exception for.
Yeah.
Ross. You know, he gets a pass.
And Daniel and good old Daniel Thornton.
Yeah, he's Australian now, though.
Yeah, he's Australian now.
He's graduated and updated onto being Australian, which is not much better, but it's better.
Being
a European.
Yeah, man. What do you think of what's that guy's name? Sunak or whatever, the prime minister over there. The
fucked if I know, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. Sunak?
Yeah,
that's that band you just looked up.
This is Waco. Oh. There's the prime minister. He's like an Indian fellow.
Of Australia?
No, of England. Of Great Britain.
He's
of the United Kingdom, whatever the hell it's called.
He's the prime minister.
Yeah. What's his name?
I didn't even know.
Anyway, I can't think of the damn guy's name.
I thought it was Liz Truss.
No,
or Boris Johnson. I'm behind the times on the international politics.
What about Jacinda? What's her face from New Zealand?
I don't.
Do you remember her?
Not really.
You don't remember
off the top of my head?
I'll refresh your memory. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, lady during COVID, who was like,
oh yeah, okay.
One of the most draconian.
That's right.
Just evil human people.
Yeah. That like sparked it into my memory. Yeah, Jacinda.
Jacinda, yeah.
Interesting name.
Well, why was I telling you about there was something he said, the Prime Minister of Great Britain.
I'm sure he said
of the United Kingdom.
Shit.
Damn, I keep saying it. I had this conversation with Daniel about, or maybe I think so, about the difference between Great Britain and the United Kingdom. I
think the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, is like England, Scotland, Ireland. That little area is the United Kingdom, and Great Britain is all of the other things that it has had in the past. And you know, I think it still has some. Like I think Canada is still kind of like part of it. You know.
Yeah. I don't.
Not really. Like
they're
their own country, but I think they
kept the Queen on their money. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of tie there. I think that they could like call them back. Like it could be like
Canada.
Yeah. But they wouldn't, because why would they? I just hate everywhere but America, basically.
Yeah. When I was talking about
I kind of hate America too.
When I was talking about loving Europe, there's a lot of places in Europe that are intriguing to me and I would like to go, like
Liechtenstein,
like Spain. I would like to go to see Spain. I would like to go to the island of Malta. I'd like to go to the island of Crete. I'd like to go to Lucis. I would love to go there to Greece. There's all kinds of places I'd like to go, but really, I don't want there to be a language barrier. I think that would be very difficult. So I mostly just mean English-speaking parts of Europe. You know,
Duolingo. Just start practicing, dude.
You know, like it would be.
It takes like 5 minutes.
If I went somewhere I would much rather not go to a tourist trap area. I'd much rather have a more authentic experience. But that's where you're going to have the hardest time finding people that speak English. If you're going,
Oh yeah, just
right.
Wherever BFE.
But if you know somebody, that's the coolest thing, man. If you know somebody like, what's the dude's name that would travel all over the world? Bourdain. Like Bourdain always had, like if he went somewhere,
He had an inn.
Yeah. And people who spoke the language and took him around. And that always to me sounded so much fun. You go to Thailand, but you go with a Thai dude who's taking you all the cool spots.
Yep. Thailand. Yeah. If I meet like single dudes who are like frequent flyers to Thailand, I start to get like weird vibes,
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to Thailand so often, dude?
It's weird.
What are you doing over there?
Yep. How many lady boys?
Yeah. They got real loose sex laws over there in Thailand. I have known a couple of people who went to Thailand too.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't ask too many questions,
Yeah. Somebody was telling me a story about this. I'm trying to remember. It was a fucked up story.
Sure it was.
Damn. Somebody was telling me a story about a guy that was going to Thailand. Oh, it was my Uber driver.
Oh, okay.
My Uber driver on the way to my wife and I went to see a Browns game not long ago, and we took an Uber there with it wasn't even an Uber, it was like a ride service, but it was an Uber. A very, very, very cool, interesting guy, older guy, who was telling us all about his world travels, telling us all about India. He went to India and went all over, and he's basically been all over. And he said that because he travels so much, one time he got connected with some fellow, some mutual connection said, "Oh, you're a world traveler. You would love this guy. He's always traveling all over." So he had a brief conversation with this guy who was talking about going to Thailand, and he said the guy was like morbidly obese and like on oxygen and was just like a creepy dude. And his world travel was back and forth to Thailand. He was just, and this is the Uber driver.
So that's exactly the guy that I'm talking about.
And this Uber driver said it. He was like, this guy was going to Thailand to do, terrible things.
Yeah.
And some mutual friend of theirs tried to put these guys together, and he was just like,
don't fucking hook me up with these people. Don't ever do that again.
Oh my God. Some people, man.
Yeah, that's the dark secrets of Thailand, I mean, there are parts of Thailand that I, would be interested. I mean, it's a beautiful place. Lots of good food, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They got elephants and shit.
In Thailand?
I think they got elephants. Asian elephants, yeah.
They got spicy food, I know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go. It's just a long flight, man. It's the same.
I don't really want to go.
Same thing if we went to Australia. It's just exhausting. Traveling's terrible, man. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places in the United States that haven't been to and would like to.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my grandparents took me to the Great Serpent Mound.
I've never been
down in Ohio.
Yeah,
but I would like to go to it again.
I know it's they have like a tower you can climb up, but it's not super easy to see the serpent.
Yeah. It's just like a bunch of fucking grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I read that book, that Hancock book, where he was talking about America Before, and he was talking about Serpent Mound and how old it might be, based on the alignment of whatever it is, like the sunrise or the sunset on the equinox, and it comes right down in where the mouth of the serpent is. It comes right down.
If I remember correctly, there's like two like hills or something, and the sun on the solstice sets like right between them, right at the head of the sun.
Yeah, yeah. And he said that the Parks Service has let it all get overgrown, so you can't see that. It's not obvious at all. So he had to fly his drone up there to get the view of it. But if you're just going to see it, you would never see it.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Dropping the ball, Park Service. I don't even know where it is. I know it's like Southern Ohio somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely Southern Ohio somewhere.
Wherever it is, they need to get their shit together. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you like maintain something that cool?
He says that he kind of implies that it's
they don't want people to know, and they're covering it up.
Yeah,
of course he
yeah,
does.
I
don't know. He might be right. I think Occam's razor, people are fucking lazy and stupid, you know? But especially government people, you know?
So what do you think about Ross coming to visit? What do you want to ask? What do you want to talk to him about?
The history of Scotland and how they were bad motherfuckers back in the day. I don't know.
I wonder if he's a history buff. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I know he's a therapist of some kind. I want to ask him about that.
Ask him for a session.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I wonder if all the shit I talk about Young was any of the mutual interest. Like, I don't know. As a therapist, maybe
Could be.
I guess we'll find out.
Yep. Yeah, man. You wanna? We did this podcast. We had a topic in mind, and we've eschewed it for over an hour at this point.
Oh shit! Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Intro the topic.
I mean, it's just everything that's been going on, current events wise. It's been 2 weeks since we recorded. So last week, it was a week ago today. I woke up and saw that something had gone down between Israel and Palestine. Well, Gaza. The Palestinian Arabs in Gaza. And it's been dominating the news cycle, understandably.
Yep.
For the last week, so just
might as well talk about it.
Might as well talk about it. It's a lot to talk about. It's like some serious shit that's going down.
Yeah, I don't know how worried we should be, or I should be, but I'm more concerned.
Yeah, I'm not like really concerned right now, but excuse me, I am concerned that in the future we could have to be concerned.
Yeah.
That this might be like the Archduke Franz Ferdinand getting capped.
That's kind of what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. The spark that lights the fuse.
Yeah. So I mean, at the moment, the way the news spins it, and I'm not following it super carefully because it's depressing, but it sounds to me like we have the United States has one aircraft carrier nearby near Lebanon, another one on the way. Iran's already making public statements about their displeasure of the encroachment and already threatening or trying to provoke more attacks from multiple fronts. So that could include from Lebanon or from Egypt or from who knows, So that's kind of where we are. It's precarious if Iran is going to call our bluff, if we're going to call theirs, if it's going to ignite and become expanded beyond Israel. I don't know, man.
Yeah, just those are my main concerns with it as well. And I think that they're exacerbated by the politicians that we have here in the United States who fucking love a good war. And
yeah.
And I mean, like people have been rattling the saber at Iran for a long time.
Yeah.
Iran has been on the cusp of having nukes for like 50 fucking years. They've almost had a nuke for like 50 years. At some point you have to wonder, is it bullshit? Do they not have, But yeah, I don't personally think we should go to war with Iran. I think that'd be a terrible.
Yeah, war would be terrible. Yeah, absolutely would be terrible. It's not ideal. It's something we want to avoid if we can avoid it.
We're not in a good. I mean, not that this should be like the main deterrent for going to war, but like we as a country, we're not in shape to go to war. Yeah. We got a lot of problems,
Yeah.
The First World War and the Second World War, we came out of those better. Like we were doing. I mean, we lost a bunch of people too, but we came into them late. And we gave out loans, and we gave people bought a lot of shit from us. So we, at the end of the wars, we did all right for ourselves, especially the first one. I think that was the case. I think we were doing all right. Like the First World War, like kind of made us a superpower.
Right. Yeah.
And the second one, I think, had a little bit more of a deleterious effect, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Just don't ask me to spell it.
Yeah. I think I could probably spell it, but but I think that it would not be the case with this one. I think that we are in, and that's like one of the reasons that I don't think we have problems that we should fix here. We don't need to be fucking playing World Cup.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean. I think the strangest thing that I've seen, and this is not my observation. This is something I've seen many people say, and it's the reaction that you're seeing from the protests among liberals, like especially what we're seeing on a lot of the college campuses and things like that, where you have these pro-Palestinian demonstrations among young liberal people, and so again, people have been saying, for the last several years, we've been hearing nothing from the left other than the conservatives, the right wingers are Nazis. How terrible that they're the scum of the earth, Nazis. And by that we mean, what do we mean by that? Why are Nazis the scum of the earth? Can you answer that question for me? This isn't a trick question. This is very obvious. Why do we consider being a Nazi such an insult? What is it that the Nazis did that people in history on them?
They had really nice uniforms.
Hugo Boss.
Like a jealousy thing, you know.
They killed, I don't know how many million Jews. How many? Do you know the number? I don't remember.
I don't know the number.
So
that's the thing. I don't know the number.
Death camps.
6 million is the number.
6 million and genocide. That's the great sin of the Nazis, right? There's lots of other things you could say, but that's the one that sticks with us, right? So they've been calling conservative people Nazis as the worst possible sin. And now there are people celebrating the death of Jewish people. And it's the same exact people that have been calling conservative Nazis. And I think, I don't know what I think. I've said before on the show many times that the lefties have given up the idea that there's shame in being contradictory.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't even care anymore.
It's like a tool,
you know? Yeah.
Like they'll say whatever they want and need to, and they will shame you for whatever they want and need to, you know? It's like, I'm rubber, you're glue, you know? It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm with you. That is weird.
You're a Nazi if you want, you know.
People, I'm just so used to being called a Nazi at this point on the internet that I don't really, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely lost its impact. You know, when people first started throwing that around.
Have you been called a Nazi on the internet?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't. Maybe not. The closest I was this one dude on Twitter that was like on a fucking rampage for a while. Sam, we talked about him before.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
He was on a fucking rampage. He was on a woke rampage.
Bastard.
Stupid bastard.
Just dumb as a bag of hammers. But yeah. No, I've definitely been called a Nazi because of reasons. But and like right now, I mean, nobody's particularly like directly called me a Nazi, but I'm not like the most sympathetic guy in the world to Israel. You know, like I think that what happened is bad. I think it's terrible anytime you kill it. Here, that's the thing. I think it's terrible anytime you kill innocent people.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yes, correct.
So what is going on now? I can't sign off on Israel like bombing the fuck out of Gaza. And a bunch of people would give you a bunch of reasons why that's stupid, but I just they don't make any sense to me.
No, listen, I think I can't disagree with you. I think it's, look at you. I think it is obviously terrible anytime innocent people are killed. And that's happening on both sides of this conflict. So, but the question is,
it's lopsided. Let's be honest. It's way lopsided.
Well, it will be before it's over. I don't know.
No, it is now.
I don't know any of the facts, so I don't know.
I do.
No, I trust you. I'm not.
It's fucking lopsided.
Yeah.
Lots more Palestinian people are dead.
Yeah. But here's my question to you. have to respond when something like that happens. So what would you do to respond? Like, part of me wants to say something like this. If it's possible to be the nobler person, to be the bigger person, to recognize a terrible tragedy as a sunk cost, and to realize that two wrongs don't make a right, and to refuse to retaliate, to turn the other cheek, like Jesus said, something like that. And if you do that, you might win over the hearts of people by example, which is great. But you also might put more confidence in the terrorists themselves to continue. Like, we're succeeding now. We're getting away with this. Why not continue to make strides? So you're not putting up an obstacle to prevent them from. What do you do? What do you do? That's what I'm asking.
I think that Israel would buy a lot of good faith with the Palestinian people, some Palestinian people, if they responded with a light touch. I think that they would gain a lot of favor with a lot of people outside of Palestine, for sure. Maybe not enough for the AOCs in the world. I think that they're still going to criticize them.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, if Israel was like, we're not going to flatten Gaza like people have been calling for, I think that might go a long way. But it's not what they're going to do. They're going to flatten Gaza.
Yeah. So I guess what I would say is, what would be a slight touch? You go in with like a surgical operation where special forces go in and try to free captives and assassinate the groups responsible, now that they've scattered back into the population and are indistinguishable from innocent civilians.
I think you plug the hole, you get the people out, which I think they have at this point. And then, you like open an investigation and you try to find the people who are responsible. And if you find those people, you don't deal with those people with a light hand. You deal with those people with a very heavy hand. I'm all for that. But I'm not for this idea of like flattening Gaza and killing a bunch of innocent people. And I do think that would buy them a little bit of good karma or something,
Yeah.
But it's not what's going to happen. It's not what's happening.
If they did do that, if they did respond that way, I think it wouldn't affect the socio-political environment. Like, it wouldn't cause the people who are extremists to be any less extreme. To be the bigger man in that situation it wouldn't change anything. Not that this is going to change anything, but maybe
this is going to make it worse. What's happening is going to. It's like a ping pong ball, man. Since like like right after, it's before the Zionists started moving to Palestine before World War II,
right? But
that's like really when the state of Israel became a state. That's when stuff really started to get hot there. Maybe a little bit before that, but you know what I mean? Like that's when stuff really picked up, like the 6-Day War, that was all after the state of Israel was established. And it's like a ping pong ball, it's like these, the Israelites do this, the Palestinians do this, the Israelites do this, the Palestinians do this. And it's like a Hatfield-McCoy situation, it's like they just bouncing this ping pong ball back and forth, making it worse and worse and worse and worse. And I don't know, man. I think that maybe if Israel was like, look, we can flatten you. Israel has they could easily just destroy all of Gaza, we could do that, but we're not going to. I think that would change Maybe not completely, but I think it would make some people, it would give some people pause. And especially outside, because if that's what Israel did, and then they did another attack like that, I mean, the rest of the world would kind of be like, okay, it's like you're asking for it.
Even if
They
did,
tried to be,
yeah.
And people kind of act like that Israel does that, but Israel doesn't do that. Israel's very rough with the Palestinian people. It's fucked up, man. Like, I'm not. If I was in charge of things in America, which is laughable, I know, but if I was calling the shots, I would not help either side. I would be like, we're out of this. I don't want any part of it. The only way that I will be involved is facilitating diplomacy between you two. That's it.
No, that part I agree with. Let me ask you a question. What happened to those Jewish families on the border of Gaza, if that happened here, if it was your house where that happened, would you think differently about Netanyahu's response? If your daughter was taken and you don't know what happened to her, if your family was killed,
I'm sure that I wouldn't.
You wouldn't what?
I'm sure that I would feel the exact same way. As I'm sure there wouldn't be any difference between me. I don't know. Maybe I would be able to maintain my, a level head. But yeah, I think if my family died, that I would be pissed off. But it's like Israel's doing the same thing, and has been doing the same thing for 100 years at this point.
So what's the solution, man?
I don't think the solution is acting like Israel is the victim all the time. I don't think that's it. I mean, yes, they were the victim right now.
Yeah.
There was just something done that they were the victim. But you can't act like Israel doesn't have their responsibility in this. People want to. So many people in this past week have just ruined their credibility with me. Lots of people I will never be able to take seriously again. Ben Shapiro, like chief among them.
Really?
Jordan Peterson, a little bit too, man.
What has he said? I don't know. He's
just like, he refuses to acknowledge the history between these two groups. And, I just don't. Ben Shapiro is the worst, man.
Well, let me tell you an angle that I see on this. If I can kick it back up here. I just had it a minute ago. It's gone. It'll come back. It popped in and out of my head more than once already. It'll come back if we keep talking.
It's flickering.
I
don't know, but for being like Mr. Facts don't care about your feelings, I don't know if you've watched any of Ben Shapiro over this last week, but he is like the most emotional human being on the planet right now. It's embarrassing.
I watched the first episode he did after this happened, but that was it. And he did nothing but show pictures and video clips from the Palestinians, from Hezbollah and the Palestinians on social media. And it was pictures of the most terrible shit you've ever seen. And and Ben Shapiro was showing it, and he said, "This is terrible." He wasn't emotional. He was very, very stoic, but he kept showing them and saying, I'm showing you this not because I want to, not because I'm enjoying this, because people need to see what's happening, and people need to understand this is why what's coming is coming. This is why
we're going to kill they killed these innocent people. That's why we're going to kill a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking homo.
Yeah. It popped in my head and then it popped out again, but it was something along those lines.
It popped out again?
It did, in and out. Yeah. It's just flickering. It happens to me constantly. Yeah. Whatever. It'll come back. It'll come back as we're talking.
Shapiro, man. Yeah, no, I don't. The way that I see him as being emotional is him like melting down because his opinion doesn't have 100% support from everyone all over the place. It's like, dude, people are allowed to fucking disagree with you, especially with as complicated an issue as I will acknowledge that this is, that a lot of people like Ben Shapiro won't. No, this isn't. People are allowed to disagree with you, man. Like, This has been a long thing. You can't pretend like your side hasn't done anything wrong because they 100% have.
So
But he refuses to admit that, dude. And the fact that anybody at all is questioning whether or not we should support Israel, he's like, you're all anti-Semites. You all a bunch of Jew haters. He's like melting down, dude. It's fucking embarrassing.
I'll have to watch him again and see.
I have zero respect for Ben Shapiro. Not that I had a lot in the first place.
So I remember what I was trying to get to now, and it was, like when you're having an argument with somebody, and you say, you did this thing, and it hurt my feelings, and then they say to you, oh, but you did this, and this. You ever have those arguments where you're in good faith?
Yeah.
In good faith, you're saying, hey, this is something you did that for the sake of us needs to change. And rather than admitting, okay, you might have a point, let me think about that, people's immediate instinct is to say, but you, as though it wipes away any responsibility they have for the wrong that they've done because you did XYZ. That drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That is a logical fallacy. That is not a way of arguing or making any good relationship with anybody. You're avoiding the conversation, really, is when you do that. And there's lots of people, when you know people like this, they're like the worst fucking people. People that insist on turning on you, And I bring this is what happens with the Hatfield McCoy's Israeli-Palestinian thing, I did this. Oh, yeah, but you did the other thing. So, we're totally justified in doing our thing. Yeah, but before that, you did the thing. And back and forth. And this is the thing that we're doing. And what I like the angle that I'm trying to get at is, why don't we look at every instance, every action as completely isolated? Then we can have a more objective moral judgment. We say, what happened here with Hamas attacking these Israeli border towns? In isolation, outside of the historical context, outside of the whole litany of you, but yeah, but you, but yeah, but you, when we get out of that and we look at what happened, morally, Hamas is the devil incarnate for what happened. There's no other way about it. Why they did what they did, if we take that out of the equation, what they did was terrible, beyond words, beyond comprehension.
I get what you're saying, but I just don't. It's not as simple as being able to do that.
It should be, though.
I don't know that it
should. And it should be the same when you're arguing with your wife or when you're arguing with somebody else.
That's different, though, because that's like intrapersonal relationships. That's like person on person. I don't think it's the same when you're talking about like groups of people, nations, and ethnicities and things like that. I don't know. I just think it's more complicated than that.
It is more complicated and I don't know why.
That's why
what's going on at that level.
That is kind of. I mean, I do agree with you, and I think that kind of plays into the thing I was saying about Israel. Like, be the bigger group of people. Be like, we could flatten Gaza. We are about to. They're about to. It's going to happen. But we're not going to. Don't fucking do that again, or we will. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna. I mean, I think that the point of doing this was to get. They want like a situation with like Jocko in like Fallujah or wherever the fuck he was in Iraq, where you are like what's the word I'm looking for? Urban warfare, like kicking in doors. It's like dangerous. That's like the worst possible position that you could be in.
A lot of people are
they want the IDF to like come in there because they stand a way better chance that way. So I think that there's something to that. I mean, there's a bunch of funny shit about all of this. I mean, have you heard that Egypt warned Israel that there was something going on?
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember hearing something about that. So in advance of the attack?
Yeah, they were like, something big is happening. They like, that's the wordage that I heard. Something big is going on. And you also hear people talk about that border between Gaza and Israel being like one of the most sophisticated like border areas in the entire, maybe the most in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Like frequently they'll send IDF forces out to like investigate a part of the wall, and like a squirrel is like storing nuts, and it's like it's that that sensitive, and somehow the Palestinians drove a bulldozer through it and like ran a bunch of people through it, and like it took them hours to. Seems fishy, dude.
Yeah, they said there was like some kind of sophisticated cyber attack.
Yeah, that it had to be Iran. Iran had to have been involved because I don't know, man. I think it seems. I'll just say it seems fishy, like I did just say.
So it's interesting to explore the idea that this whole thing might be a distraction or something else is going on that this is covering up. That's an interesting idea. Like what, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think I know what you mean.
But there's something else that I want to play devil's advocate with you, because you do it with me sometimes, and I just inside I'm smiling at the idea that I get to do it to you right now. So you remember when the whole Ukraine-Russia thing first started, you kind of had an interesting, and still do, I think, have a interesting but not mainstream view of the dynamics and what's going on there right now. And one of the things you said is that Russia has a valid concern about the security of their sphere of influence, and with the whole UN encroaching on them, that is a kind of an obvious threat. It's not even a cloaked threat. It's a threatening thing that this group continues to inch in on your buffer zone, basically, and that Russia has some valid concerns about being worried about that and wanting to defend themselves or try to restore that buffer or whatever. If you can see where I'm going with this, you said Russia was justified or maybe justified in having that feeling. Meanwhile, in Israel, you have the Gaza, which is filled with enemy combatants, essentially, and they're right there. And if they say, because of what happened, we have to now come in and remove all of these enemy combatants and take this piece of land. Maybe they haven't said that yet, but probably this is going to happen. Gaza is then going to become part of Israel again. They're going to remove everyone from that land and create that buffer again for their own safety. Now we have enemy combatants encroaching right down onto our border. I'm just trying to make the parallel between the UN creeping in on Russia and the militant Islamic people creeping in on.
If Israel is Russia, in that
it is, yeah.
Okay, what is Gaza? I mean, is Gaza the UN?
Maybe,
yeah. I mean, you see how that doesn't track, right? Like the UN, the combined forces of the UN would fuck Russia up. I mean, like maybe not in an invasion type, although I think like you could argue that we would, like Germany, Great Britain, the United States, France. I think that you could make an argument that we would probably come out victorious if we went into full out war, except for the fact that they have nukes. That makes things tricky.
No, I see the point.
But
go ahead.
But yeah, Gaza is not the UN.
You're right.
Gaza is in the position that they're in because of Israel. The UN is not in the position that they're in because of Russia.
Right. What about this? What about thinking about if we're going to make Gaza the UN in this analogy, and we know UN is bigger than just Ukraine,
so you're talking
right?
About like Iran and shit.
The whole Muslim world. We could just say, I mean, in the world, the wars that happened between Egypt and Israel, and basically I don't know what other countries were involved in the 70s. There was a couple of them, right? A couple of those wars. There was multiple Islamic countries all around Israel.
Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, Iran, I think Syria to some extent too.
Right. So imagine that Gaza is an extension of that. Then you have a closer analogy to the UN thing. Then Israel's already surrounded, really, in terms of, and I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. I just mean from an Israeli perspective, they're surrounded by hostile powers. I
wonder why. Why does everyone around you not like you so much, man? What is that all about?
It's a great question.
It is a good question.
Is it racism?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that.
I mean, an argument could be made, and not a weak one, that the Arabs and the Persians hate the Jews because they're not Arabs or Persians.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't really explain the fact that Jews lived with them for a long time and they didn't dislike the Jews. You know, Jews and Arabs.
Didn't they?
No, they didn't. 100%. Jews and Arabs, 100%. That's the truth. Jews and Arabs lived together in that area for a long time.
Right.
Jews live in Iran now, and they're fine. Did you know that?
There's Jews in Iran?
100%.
No. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I did.
You're like. I feel like you're not taking it seriously. What I'm saying is 100% true.
I know that.
They got along, but at a certain point, when the Zionists like started importing people and taking land from people, they got pissed off. Does that like not make? Does that if that happened to you, don't you think that you would be pissed off?
Yeah. See, now we're getting into waters too deep for my understanding, but the story I heard is that largely the Zionists purchased land from Palestinians. And what happened was, after there was enough buildup of the population where they started getting political clout, then started improving the land, then the Arabs that had sold their land or had been moved off of their land then wanted the land back now that it's valuable.
So part of it is that way, but you have to like think about people who are selling in duress and things like that. It's not like I don't think all of those transactions were on the up and up.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
And also it wasn't all that way. Back then it was the Palestinian mandate. It was like it was Great Britain.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it was the Balfour Declaration was like, yeah, you guys can have a part of that. Because the Arabs who lived there were, they were under the thumb of the British. Dude, the Arab people got fucked in that situation. I don't know how much you know about World War I and them, getting shipped off to die for a bunch of fucking European countries that they didn't have any allegiance to.
Yeah.
But they had to. They had to go and kill each other, kill people, because like the Allies, both sides had Arab, I don't know what the word is, like I don't know, colonies for lack of a better word, and they like sent them to kill each other before they would send their people to die in that area,
Yeah.
So they had to kill each other, and then both sides were making them promises, and nobody delivered on those promises, and they delivered for the Jewish people, like the Jewish people got a state out of it. They were there. It was their home.
Mm-hmm.
And they got fucked out of their home. Like,
yeah, that did happen. Absolutely. That happened to Meshti's family.
It seems like I understand why they're mad.
Yeah. But I just think the but you did thing, I just think that makes it impossible.
What in this, like, in this scenario where they stop doing that, how do the Palestinian people, how do they come out whole?
Well, so one thing, like what happened in the United States, as an example, we had a bunch of people from different countries that learned to become American. We had a bunch of people that were slaves that learned to become American. When they were freed, they became part of America and American. And so what we had was a melting pot of not just racial, but social, hierarchies blending together to become, something new.
You think that the Palestinian people, the Palestinian Arabs should become Jews?
I think that the Palestinian Arabs and the Jews should learn to live together, and then start interbreeding, and then become one new thing, and then become a Israeli-Palestinian country with representation in the government from both.
That will never happen.
But why? Is it because of race or because of religion, or is it because
actually, I do think it is about race.
So now you're flip-flopping, but go ahead, please.
No, I'm not flip-flopping.
Yeah.
I think that it's about race, but not. I think it's particularly about race on one side. The Israeli people, the Jewish people are never going. It's not going to happen.
You don't think in the absence of hostility that Arab Muslims and Jews living together in Israel wouldn't be boyfriend and girlfriend, wouldn't start to over time.
I don't think it would be allowed to happen.
And is that because of race or religion? Is it because of
both? I think it goes hand in hand. I think that Jewish people and Judaism, like the race and the religion, go hand in hand more than any other religion in the world.
Yep. It's so fucked up, man, because there has been Semitic people in that part of the world forever,
Arabs are Semitic people
into deep antiquity, right? And they're cousins, and they believe, according to the Quran, that they are cousins, that they have a common ancestor in Abraham, and yet there are people on both sides of that conflict that want the other side to no longer exist, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there would be no cross pollination, if you will, but yeah, no, I don't think that it would happen like that.
Like the biggest ticking time bomb in political dynamics in the world might be the Alaska Mosque or the Temple Mount. Like something could happen with that could easily cause an international conflict that could become maybe the worst we've ever seen. That one spot, because of all of the tensions and all the history. How do you solve them? How do you have that bomb? It feels like a bomb. It feels like a bomb to me.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a time where the Arabs and the Jews in that part of the world have blended together, and whether their religions blend together or whether they keep them separate makes no difference. Imagine a time when a Muslim and a Jew could walk in and pray in that place, as equals and peacefully, and like that. A world like that would defuse that bomb. How do we get there? I don't know, but
That's a good question.
But it would diffuse that bomb.
I think a step to getting to there might be that light touch that I was talking about, but that ain't what's going to happen. Israel's going to flatten Gaza that's the terminology that keeps getting tossed around, and like not with any kind of shame either. Like people like flatten Gaza, turn it into glass, make it a parking lot. That's what's going to happen.
Do you think?
And we're going to be involved. We're going to be giving them money and materials and support in whatever ways we can. Hopefully we don't get involved, boots on the ground.
Oh, Jesus.
But who knows, man? A lot of the wars that we have been involved in the Middle East have been kind of at the behest of Israel. Israel, they want us to beat everyone around them into submission so that they maintain their hegemony in the region.
So the only part of that that's hard for me to swallow is the fact that they're the minority in the region.
Would you say that Israel is not the hegemon in the Middle East?
I don't know.
I mean, I would. I don't have like any hesitation about it either, because like the last week has been the most obvious. If you're fucking with Israel, you're not just fucking with Israel. You're fucking with the United States. Yeah. And would you say that if we drop the United States right next to the Middle East, that the United States would be the hegemon? And considering that we are the hegemon, period.
Yeah, we would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So Israel, by default, is the hegemon in that area.
That's what you mean.
Nobody's fucking with Israel unless they want a fight with it, which makes everything right now even more, precarious.
But they are fucking with Israel. They're nonstop fucking with Israel. Just like it's happening on both sides. I admit that, but constantly, there's constantly rockets coming into Israel constantly.
Yeah, none of them land. I mean, it's very few. Very rarely does anything seriously happen to Israel. because they are like much more advanced. You know, they've got like some serious defense shit. Although, from my understanding, they got some problems. You know, like that.
Yeah.
We've talked before about the like the coming competency crisis, and apparently Israel is gonna be feeling that just like everyone else. Like apparently, like 50% of their military is female. Like 50+% of it is female.
Oh shit.
Not good.
Not good. Oh boy. Imagine how much the Middle East could benefit, not only from peace, but from trade and interacting with a first world power like Israel. And I'm not saying that like for instance, Turkey and Egypt and Iran have all had, like in the 60s, were like liberal places with booming development and lots of potential, and the religious, the strict religious stuff and the totalitarian stuff was not at all like it is today. Like it could have went a different direction. There's certain countries there that could have been,
You know why that happened?
no, not well. Just the my only explanation to that is the rise of the Islamic the caliphate, the sort of
Yeah, but you don't know why that happened.
Tell me.
It was imagine this. It was outside involvement. It was meddling from the outside, propping up things to destabilize the region. Israel created Hamas because the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which was the rebels in the area, I don't know, like 30 years ago or something. No, not even that long ago. I think it was like early 2000s when Hamas formed. So up until then, they were like fairly liberal as far as Muslims go. And Israel, the Likud party, which Netanyahu is a member of, they created Hamas. They created Hamas. They funded Hamas to be like a counteracting force in that, that Palestinian community to like destabilize. It's like the same thing we do with.
So they organized a militia of Arabs, to fight against other Arabs.
To the the PLO, because I'm having a hard time talking, was the organization like Hamas in that area, and they were like giving them problems, so they were like, all right, we're going to give you someone that you have to contend with. And eventually I think because Muslims are just kind of like generally kind of based individuals, the conservative ideas kind of won over there. Now Hamas is replaced the PLO, and now Israel's dealing with Hamas, and it's a monster that you created, just like we do all the time with Al Qaeda, ISIS, the Taliban. We left all that shit in Afghanistan. Who knows when the Taliban's going to be a problem again?
Yeah, boy,
and it's going to be because of us.
It's a fucking disaster, dude.
The whole thing's a shit show, and that's my biggest frustration with all of this is that people like Ben Shapiro and fucking Dave Rubin, that baby thief Dave Rubin, they want to act like it's clear as fucking day that we should be supporting Israel. It's not clear as day that we should be supporting Israel. I don't see it that way. And you can call me an anti-Semite. You can call me a Nazi, whatever you want, man. That's fine with me, because I can't act like I don't see the other side of it because I'm worried about you calling me names. Fuck that, dude.
It's a disaster, man. Like I only see two solutions to this problem. One of them is terrible, which is the elimination of one side. It's terrible. And without the support of the West, I think that the side that wins that is not Israel,
Yeah, I agree.
And it may take a long time. Israel's got a powerful army, it may take a long time, but I think their days would be numbered. So either the state of Israel goes away at some point in the future, and the Arabs redivide that however they do, and maybe peace or something is reestablished. But then what of the Jews? And what of the Jews, man?
There's been some theory going around that everything going on in Ukraine, that Ukraine may be like being eyed as like the new Jerusalem, the new Israel.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know how much you follow these things, but a lot of the people who are involved in the Ukraine side of things, I mean, it's like I don't know if you've been paying attention
No.
here, but like a lot of dual citizenship going on in Congress, in Senate, in lots and lots. The Secretary of State Blinken, like he just came out and said something like, "I'm a Jew," like
I heard him. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. That doesn't make me feel, but it's like the same thing. There's a guy, his name is Kolomoisky, is his last name. I can't remember his first name, but he's a Jewish feller, lots of ties to Israel. Zelensky's a Jewish guy.
Oh.
But yeah, there's I've heard some things like that might be like the escape plan, get everyone to the Ukraine, which is funny because that's where they fucking came from.
Yeah, the diaspora. Boy, it's a fucking disaster, man. I don't know. Like I said, if the Arab Muslims were triumphant in destroying Israel off the map, like we hear, Iran threatening and so forth, that's one potential like end to this. Even though I think what that entails is horror that I can't even imagine. Don't want to consider. The other solution to this is the one I mentioned, the melting pot solution. The overcoming your religious differences and forming a bond, a national bond, and having Israeli Arabs being just as proud to be Israeli Arabs as Israeli Jews, and have something like that. That also could be a solution to the problem.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I said earlier that I don't think that would happen, and I don't know. Maybe I was a little. I do think that could happen, but I think it would be very hard, and I think that the Ben Shapiros of the world want you to believe that the Palestinians are the reason why that wouldn't work. I don't believe that's true. I think they are a part of it 100%. They do not like Jewish people. They do not like Israel. I'm not like taking their responsibility away, but I choose to give Israel their responsibility and not let them off the hook for all of the the whatabouts, the back and forth that you were talking about.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of them. And one of the things is, again, you go watch Ari Shafir's Jew special and he'll admit it to you. They think they're better than everyone in the world. They think that they're the chosen people. That is their land. That's what Zionism means, that they have a right to that land, that no one can take it away from them. And I don't know, man, I think that you're just people, and that if you piss off enough people, we could take it away from you. Like, if America decided we want that's ours,
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that's like hyperbole. That would never happen because we are 100% in the bag for Israel. But theoretically, you're not the biggest, baddest group of dudes on the block,
Yeah.
But they walk around. They sure as fuck walk around like they are because they've got us on a short leash.
Yeah.
IPAC is like the most powerful lobby in our entire country. Not only do we have tons of dual citizens in our country, I don't think that should be allowed. Not to be in the country, but I don't think you should be able to hold public office. I don't think you should be able to vote if the allegiance to us is not 100% clear.
Yeah. Well, listen, that there's some little bit of totalitarianism in that, but I don't disagree with you. I think that there is the perception, there could be the perception of split allegiances, and it's a risk. It's a risk to allow full participation in the government from somebody who may not have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. So tons of dual citizenship all over the place. IPAC being the most powerful lobby in the entire country. The American Christian evangelicals, who are like hardcore Christian Zionists, are another huge lobby in the United States. And like just a huge voting block too, I don't think that things are going to go I think that things are going to go bad for Gaza here. I think that the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
Which sucks, man. And I don't. If it was up to me, I wouldn't support either side. I would facilitate diplomacy. That is it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, but I don't. I just don't. I just don't think it's gonna. It's not gonna go over well for Gaza. The whole thing's gonna, and it's not gonna go well for anybody because where do those people go then, Chris?
Yeah, it's not gonna.
They come here.
It's not gonna go well for anybody.
It's fucked up, man.
Yeah. So
I don't. That's the thing. It's like I spent this whole podcast like crying for the people in Gaza and the Palestinians. I don't want them to come here though. Like I don't know, man.
So I was thinking about like what it takes. The dehumanization is really what I'm talking about. What it takes to get somebody to be capable of doing the atrocities that both sides are accused of doing. It takes a certain level of dehumanizing the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and partly that is something that is taught. It's like you hear it from your parents, you hear it from your brothers, you hear it from your elders, you hear it from the community. This group of people's bad, this whatever. And so there's like this indoctrination that happens that allows people to hate before they have any reason to hate. It primes them to hate the other group. And I think until you end that, there's absolutely no hope for diplomacy. It's like you've got generations and generations of people that are raised to believe the other side is not just the enemy, but the devil,
Yeah.
They're not human. Human deserve, respect, a human of any kind deserves. They don't even think that. It's worse than that. And I don't know how you stop that, man.
I don't either. It's a sad situation.
Terrible.
Doesn't feel like good things are coming.
No. This is a bummer, man.
The first part of the episode is fun. I just talked about music and shit. Might be boring for the listeners.
And impressions,
Hopefully not.
Stereotypes of people, and
yeah, that was all funny though.
I don't know if it was funny or not.
I thought it was funny.
Jesus, man. All right, well, we're at 2 hours. It's really bummer. I wish we could brighten this up somehow before we leave, but how are we going to do that? How are we going to, when I was a little kid and I would watch horror movies.
That's bright.
Well, what I used to do, like, because I remember specifically going over to my buddy Chris Coles. Remember Chris? Mm-hmm. Go over to Chris's house. We'd rent horror movies. We'd watch horror movies, and we'd be terrified as we were kids. And then we couldn't go to bed because we were terrified. So instead we'd put on like Mario Brothers, and we'd play some little video games, and the cheerful music and the colors. After a while, man, you're not scared anymore. You can go right back to bed. That's what we need right now. We need a Mario Brothers breakdown.
Ship over Game Boys to the Gaza Strip.
No, I mean for the podcast. We need a video game.
Work in Gaza.
It might.
Ship over some Nintendo 64s and some Star Fox.
Some GoldenEye 007.
Dude, might work.
It could.
Might not though.
Something I want to find out. I heard Japan. I heard Japan might sell Nintendo. I heard Nintendo might sell their business. They might sell.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure to who, but that would be interesting.
I don't know what that would mean.
I don't know what that would mean either. But it's a such a legacy. Nintendo is such a like culture shaping thing for it to be purchased by somebody else, and who knows what will happen with it is interesting.
I wonder who would buy it. Like, it would be cool to have like old school Nintendo games on PlayStation,
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
They got a bunch of shit like that now that you can do with
illegally.
Yeah.
Breaking the law over here.
Yeah, well, I guess we're not enforcing the laws these days anymore, Kyle.
Some of them we are.
Some of them. Taxes. Going to continue to enforce those laws.
Yep.
Any final thoughts for the podcast audience?
Honestly, as corny as it sounds, like my prayers really are with the people over there. Like it's the Israelites and the Palestinians both, because it's not a good situation. And I just pray that maybe this is kind of selfish, but like I pray that it doesn't like spread out to the rest of the world either. Like, you know,
Amen, buddy.
that's it.
And with that,
Well, there you have it.